Sportskeeda! Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Kev Kellum coming to you from MBC Tower in downtown Chicago for Sportskeeda Wrestling on the YouTubes and the podcast, wherever you get it. We're now going to be coming to you on Thursdays. This has been an abrupt change. We couldn't do a show last week because we were doing the changes here. We have some different things happening with the channel, which we'll address within this episode. How you guys doing? A lot of big news to get to. If you were with us live, hit the comments. We're talking Cody Rhodes being the #1 ranked wrestler in the world. Acknowledge it. We're going to do that. We're going to talk about the big changes with Roman Reigns. AEW has some massive news with their TV deal, which we're still waiting for. It's at the red zone. We're going to talk about that. I have to talk about AEW All Out. I was at that show this week. That was nuts. So a lot to get into. Nick, how you doing over in Sacramento? Nick Harkson, the two-piece man himself. He puts the ton in reggaeton. How you doing, buddy? How you feeling, man?
I'm doing good. My allergies are just going a little crazy out here today. This normally doesn't happen. I moved away from Iowa as a main reason to get away from the allergies, and no, they're hitting me hard today. So bear with me, people, but I'm doing good other than that.
Do want to remind you guys, we have a new show coming to the channel as well. Enter the Bloodline with Afa Anawahi of the Bloodline himself. He will give insights into everything that people know about, and it'll be kind of like an ask him anything type situation. I don't know how regularly we'll be having these. What a day, Joe Lowry, going to be on those. Nice. I believe we're going to have those midday, but those are premiering soon. So look out for those soon on the channel as well. So let's jump right into it. A lot of people talking about this. The PWI 500 is easily the most debated thing in all of professional wrestling. I loved getting these magazines as a kid, even though I know what the rankings are and these get on the internet very quickly. I always enjoy this. And this is one that is really, there's a lot of people that are more upset about this than I thought they would be, though, based on, Cody's #1. If you feel he should be #1, I would love to hear from you. If you don't feel he should be #1, so we have Sherry Brown saying he should be #1. Okay. People already telling us Bloodline 2.0 showed up in NXT. I'm waving to people over at Q101. How you doing? What's up? Lauren O'Neill's over there. So those guys are doing it. He better not. Someone may moon me here for a second.
Oh my.
That may be happening in a radio studio, right? And it is indeed happening. I am indeed being mooned currently while I'm on air. And thankfully we are not going to reference a body part that I just saw. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to respond to them, though, in the wrestling way that is proper. I'm going to stand up and say that I have 2 words for you. 2 words for you. Suck it. Okay, there we go. I had to give it back to him. And there we go. Shout out Q101, Chicago's Alternative Rock. We're giving away tickets to see The Offspring today and Riot Fest. Go stream it, Q101.com. Thank you for them for being accommodating. Cynthia saying Cody is #1. Love him. Thank you, Cynthia. I love having the lady energy here. And people saying, goddamn, the American Nightmare is #1. Proud of him. Surprise. Usually I was expecting people just to get mad that it's Cody because so many people are fickle and weird. But he is ranked #1 in the PWI 500, the top 500 wrestlers in the world. Here is the top 10. We can get into other names. You want to do the top 20? Want to go through the top 20?
Let's do the 20. Let's do 20.
Eddie Kingston deserved. Eddie Kingston absolutely deserves this. Mustafa Ali, a surprising name. I expect him to be in the top 50, but yeah, he had a big year. Even as an independent name, he had a big year. Yeah. El Hijo del Vikingo, he had some big matches, certainly some talked about stuff. Number 17, Jey Uso. Yes, the Heat stuff is over. Lost a lot of matches, though. We'll talk about the factors of what brings us together. Sonata from New Japan Pro Wrestling at number 16. Moose. Just interviewed Moose. Tomorrow, him and Nick Nemeth, people know as Dolph Ziggler, going to be challenging each other for the TNA World Championship on the Victory Road event that TNA is going to be streaming on their TNA Plus service. I got to interview both of them at the same time, which is very, very tense. That will premiere over on the Wrestle Binge channel later tonight. Plug. Number 14. This was surprising, but it's also kind of like when these rankings kind of come out. Number 14, Bryan Danielson. Didn't you think he'd be higher?
Yeah, just because of the year that he's had and just getting the championship. I don't know. I saw him up there just a little bit higher.
Coming in at number 13, Drew McIntyre. Thought Drew would be bigger, but it's also like debatable. That's fair.
Right.
You're in the top 20. Number 12, Sami Zayn. That's fair. He's a guy. He just that's a high ranking for him. He's been a reliable utility babyface, but he's the guy who beat Gunther. No matter what. Oh, he only had the Intercontinental title for a couple months and stuff like that. Held it until SummerSlam. He beat the guy who had the title for the record-breaking time. So.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah. Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe had a deceptively very good year. If this goes 23 into 24 based on like when you're judging, like it's PWI 500 to PWA 500, he ended MJF. He was a like utility guy for AEW during those tough times. He had the reliable quarter hours and good matches and a centering, anchoring force on a show that had some turbulence with injuries and inconsistent booking. Samoa Joe was fairly consistent.
Yeah, and you make a good point there too. I think that this is judged from PWI to PWI, correct? It's not
it's not like a calendar year type thing.
Right.
This isn't like 2023. It's kind of like the Grammys, like how it cuts off like in February or March or something like that.
Yep.
Number 10, Mystico, one of the big names in Lucha Libre. I'm sorry, but I don't know what Mystico's up to. I know AEW's been doing more CMLL, Lucha Libre, AAA integrations. Number 9, this one makes complete sense. Gunther, the current world heavyweight champion. This makes sense. I would think he would crack the top 10, and he just did there.
Yeah, well-deserved. Gunther's been on fire this year. I'm excited for his upcoming match.
I want to hear from you guys. Who do you think should be number 1? I acknowledge the tribal chief Roman Reigns, says Kodu. Definitely Jey Uso. Yeet. People saying nothing but respect for the former AEW champion Swerve Strickland at number 2. Well, you're spoiling it. I'm going to get to that. Who do you guys think should be the number 1 wrestler in the world? I would love to hear from you. If you're watching right now, if you're listening anywhere, would love to hear from you. Let me know what the mic sounds like too, because this is a different mic for me. If this is sounding crisp and clean, I want to make sure it's not on the webcam mic. I haven't switched to the webcam mic. I hate when the audio switches like that. Am I still good?
Yeah, you're still good. Sounding super crisp and clear over here.
That's what I want to hear. I'm using my broadcast radio voice and full diction. But running down this whole list, where was I? Yes, some Mystico, Gunther, John Moxley at number 8. John Moxley had a couple titles in here. World titles make sense. John Moxley just turned heel. We'll talk about that. He choked out someone with a plastic bag, and apparently that's controversial. Did you see that?
I did see that. And it might be a little controversial, but I like it. It's just adding some heat.
Number 7, MJF. I was expecting him to be in the top 5. There's some names that are ahead of him that I don't think should be ahead of him on this list.
I think I agree with you.
People saying, oh, WWE's been way better than AEW for the better part of the year. Like enough WWE fans say that, or, fans are kind of in between. But MJF, a lot of injuries, but he carried that title well into the end of the year. I think the storyline with the Devil was interesting, but it kind of went off the rails, especially when it got revealed. It felt like you could see it coming a mile away, and it would just, even if it was predictable, is it fun when it gets revealed? And that aside, MJF he was so reliable, like he was playing like a babyface. He headlined and won their biggest main event ever so far at the All In show last year. I know, despite all the other things that happened with that show that people talk about, that's 80,000 people watching you win a world title match.
Oh yeah,
that's something to be talked about. Ahead of him at number 6 is Damian Priest, who had a very, very big year. I think you can't deny that Damian Priest leveled up. He was main eventing that big Backlash card against Bad Bunny, huge celebrity match. That's for casual wrestling fans, it's a significant deal. The Puerto Rico card was amazing. The reactions were wild, and he was a huge part of that. Number 5, this one is surprising. Tetsuya Naito. He's been a big name for New Japan for a long time. Some people have claimed that he lost a step, or maybe he's lost his edge. He's still having great matches, but particularly the match at Forbidden Door against John Moxley. I saw a match where he lost that title to John Moxley in Chicago, but this one at Forbidden Door felt like a drop down. Like the first match was really good, but the rematch wasn't as strong. So I'm surprised that he's ahead of MJF. Particularly. That's number 5. So here we go. We're in the top 5. Naito's number 5. Number 4, Seth Rollins, 100% lock, MVP of the storylines for WrestleMania. Number 3, Will Ospreay. Kenny Omega may not be the bout machine, but Will Ospreay is the new bout machine in terms of like critically acclaimed wrestlers who deliver on it, and also a guy. Good promos, but he's been cutting great promos. Besides that Triple H one where he didn't unnecessarily had to like take a shot at him, that wasn't necessary. he's been one of the best parts of AEW. The way MJF kind of was away, Will Ospreay kept it going while he was gone. And I think he's been a reliable guy. He had one of the best matches at All Out, by the way, too. Number 2, Swerve Strickland. This guy just had that insane match against Hangman, the cage match. He had the title. He was a big name. I think he most improved standing overall in AEW in the calendar year. You know, MJF was at the top, so him winning the world title before this kind of new. But number 1, Cody Rhodes. Ended Roman Reigns' multi-year reign as world champion. Ended him, and it was significant. Also worth noting, Roman Reigns, for all you Roman Reigns loyalists, he is not in the top 20 wrestlers.
No, he is not.
Because he's been out of the running since the beginning of this ranking, which I guess runs here. So the way they rank these, you want to know how the categories they use this? Win-loss record, so kayfabe, right?
Yep.
Championship wins, okay, that makes sense. Quality of competition, that's vague. That's to be determined, right? Major feuds, to be determined, right? There's some waviness there. Prominence within a wrestler's promotion, that's fair to see. And overall wrestling ability, also vague to be determined. And this runs from August 1st, 2023 to July 31st, 2024. So you kind of see in that window, that's why Roman Reigns, he wasn't on TV a whole lot in between then. He was just doing the angles in the big time matches. So, I mean, for all you Roman Reigns loyalists, you wanted a part-time guy as your champion, and he's not there all the time, and then you want the whole show to revolve around him. I just think it's really, really hard to do with a show that has so many layers to it.
I agree. Yeah, Roman Reigns, huge figure in WWE, but like you said, I just don't think he was there enough. There was other guys who are well deserving. I think Cody Rhodes is a great number 1 this year. He's put in the work. He's a great champion. He's carried the weight over there. So I agree with that. I do agree with you that, guys like Daniel Bryan and Drew McIntyre could have maybe swapped with Sami Zayn, I thought there, but Sami had a great year.
All right.
But I could see that being swapped, them going up, and Bryan Danielson being in the top 10, of course. But MJF, I had him in my top 5. I had him ahead of Damian Priest as well. So I don't know. But other than that, I think they did a pretty good job on this list. I
mean, Naito had a big night at Tokyo Dome, and that was still significant. But that Forbidden Door match, like that rematch with Moxley, so many people were expecting so many good things from that, and it just wasn't a good match. It wasn't a bad match, but it was like there's so many expectations for that match, particularly on that card, and it just didn't deliver them. So that's just kind of my first thought here. People asking, could Braun Breaker join the Judgment Day? I don't know. That'd be out there. Says Extreme and Awesome. Want to hear from you guys here. Braun Breaker could definitely replace Dominic in the Judgment Day. Don't know about that.
I don't think that's happening.
And Tony says, my number 1 wrestler from the last year is Trick Williams. Whoop that trick. I got to look at the whole rankings. There's 500, and we'd spend the whole show looking at it here.
Yeah,
I want to see if Trick Williams is on there. Trick Williams is number 28.
Yep.
So he's ahead of Ilya Dragunov, Mark Briscoe, Nakajima, and Zack Sabre Jr., Mike Bailey. So a lot of big names on it. You can see that right now. PWI, well worth picking up. If you want to buy a magazine, and a lot of people don't buy magazines, Cody's on the cover. He's number 1. And they call him the heartbeat of wrestling. But I always enjoy the PWI 500. So I got a text Bill after about that, the PWI 500. I know he's probably been involved in some of these decisions in the past. If you're joining us, let us know what you guys think. Get your comments on screen. We are live and on demand on the Sportskeeda Wrestling, YouTube, Facebook, all that good stuff. Wrestle Room. Thank you so much as well. I know we're streaming over there. And on the podcast side of things, you guys can stream us on all the different podcast apps, Spotify, Apple iTunes, iHeart, all those good things. Go get us on them here. Once again, we're going to be dropping new shows for Rings and Rambles every Thursday, midday time. We're not specific on the time there. I know I'm talking your head off here. We'll be talking about the new tag team that's been signed to WWE. We have a major AEW TV update to get to. I do want to tell people Roman Reigns confirmed for the debut the reintroduction of SmackDown on Fox this Friday. Let's talk about this.
USA.
The WWE TV changes that are coming up and how they kind of affect viewers and stuff like that. So SmackDown is going to move over to USA Network cable TV on Friday nights. Rough spot to be in. I don't think it's the tightest spot. I thought maybe they might change the night, but that's the way they've been going. And then we saw Raw is going to stay on USA Network until the end of the year when they make the major move to Netflix, which I think is, we still don't know everything we're going to get with that. But then what do you think of this change here? Until the end of the year, Raw will be 2 hours.
Yeah. Interesting because, what are they going to do with the people who were getting those time slots with the 3 hours?
Some people are going to get affected by that. That's
Definitely.
going to completely changes the entire TV show too, by the way.
Oh yeah. And, I sometimes will watch the reruns on Hulu, and Hulu will cut out a lot of the show as well. I wonder if they're gonna
like
do
what
that
Hulu, you
anymore.
get you still get like a 90-minute cut of it, right?
Yeah, it's 90 minutes. They pick and choose probably the top matches, the top moments, but I wonder if it'll affect that as well. But yeah, it's interesting to see this move. Some people were kind of talking about it, rumoring it for a while now, and it's happening. So yeah, I'm just curious to see who's going to get affected by this. I know the main time players, they're still going to be good to go, but it's definitely going to be some time cuts here for certain people.
Want to hear from you guys. Raw going to 2 hours. There's a lot of people I know that were like, I got asked about this on Q101 on Tuesday night. I was doing some radio stuff, and I got asked about this. Like, there's people calling in like, "Hey, you're the wrestling guy at Q101. Why are they doing that?" And I kind of explained. I think it's part of the TV deal.
Yeah.
Also, it's a short run deal. The Raw deal was supposed to end around this time, and then it wasn't clear until the beginning of the summer where Raw was going to be on TV between October and the jump to Netflix. But then once it was clear that SmackDown was going there and they were done working with Fox, by the way, Fox is not out of the wrestling business, reportedly. We'll talk about that here in a minute.
Yeah.
That involves a competitor. That one's a really interesting one.
Crazy.
I'm going to take my sweet Undertaker hat off so you can see, I'm bald. Now there's a glare on my wildly bald head here. We can't have two people with beards and bald hats on. Too much. We look too alike. We look like roadies. Want to hear from you guys on this. Some people just say oh, it's less wrestling to watch. It's a little bit easier for me. It's a little bit easier of a routine. But this show's been 3 hours for over 10 years now. Maybe some people are used to that.
Yeah, it's going to be a big change, not only for the roster, but for the people who like to tune in. Maybe for media guys.
For a few months. It's only for
it won't be that long at all.
3 months. 3 months. Yeah.
So we should be able to deal with this. It should be fine. But for media guys like us, it might be a little bit easier to cover, especially with a busier schedule. But there's gonna be
the fans. It's not about us.
Yeah, it's not about us. I was getting there. But yes, the fans. That's what it's most important. And I think there's definitely going to be some ruffled feathers here. People love their wrestling. They're looking forward to the 3 hours on Monday night. That's a big part of their week. So it's going to be a change. It's definitely going to upset some people, but just remember, it's only a few months. We'll get there. It'll be okay.
I want to ask you guys, how do the WWE TV changes impact you as a fan? How are you watching a show? How does it change for you? Let me know, because I want to get your comments on screen. No super chats. You want to do a super chat, we'll throw you right to the front of the line and we'll cover your stuff at greater depth. So if you're on the YouTube side of things, you want to donate and throw a super chat in there, it's great. We're happy to take them, but they aren't mandatory with us. Benjamin Kimbrell says, do you think SmackDown will get a better TV rating when they move to Friday? I know some fans care about ratings. I'm going to take the ratings not with just a grain of salt, but with a mountain of salt. It's a change. Wrestling fans love a routine. Yeah. But SmackDown as a property has moved a whole lot. It was on Tuesdays. It was on Thursdays. Then it was on Fridays. So it's moved a lot in the 25 years or so that it's been on TV. And I think it's a little bit different. Monday Night Raw, it stays. Monday Night Raw, it's got to be Monday Night Raw. I know there's some people that are thinking about maybe Netflix doing some changes with it, and they can change. They can do a lot more in terms of the time. I do think it'll be longer than 2 hours when it goes to Netflix, by the way. But I don't think it'll be 2 hours, 3 hours every week. With Netflix, you can kind of do whatever you want. You're not tied to commercial slots. You can do streaming and stuff like that, but it's not the same thing as cable where you're tied into different things like that. It's there's a non-linear TV. When you see non-linear, there's no hard channel tied to it. So it's a stream,
Yeah.
So it's, so you have a lot more freedom there. People asking though about SmackDown and the ratings. Well, here's the problem for AEW. Their TV deal is coming up right around the same time, and shuffles are happening with them. I don't know what Rampage is going to look like. It's a 1-hour TV show that has not felt like appointment television in a long, long time. And I think that's the show that should worry about that. If there's wrestling fans watching on cable, it's kind of like a different conference. In terms of like ratings, guys, the way network TV ratings are weighted are different than cable TV ratings, even though you think they're kind of like the same thing. There's ratings overall, but the TV ratings on cable are different than the TV ratings on network over-the-air free television, right?
Yeah.
And Fox was. You didn't have to pay for a cable service to get that, but a lot of people do. So cord cutting, all that different stuff. I do think it'll have less of an audience. You were getting 1.5, so you're probably getting 1.5 is probably like honestly, like a 3 or 4 million viewers, concurrentently live, and ratings. And by the way, those rating numbers you get, it isn't just a margin of error. It's a massive, massive level of error. A TV rating in 2024 is not 100% indicative of the actual audience. And I know a lot of people say, oh, Fox canceled SmackDown. No. They decided they didn't want to renew it because they were paying X amount of dollars and making X amount back, and X didn't match X. Doesn't mean that they don't find value in it. They want the investment to match what they're getting. And some people say they were upset about it. There was reports, Fightful Select, tip of the cap to Sean Ross Sapp. I met Sean for the third or fourth time this past week. Sweet guy.
Oh, nice.
He kind of Fox was a little upset with some stuff with WWE and how they handled it, but they settled into a pattern, especially in the pandemic. They were a very reliable first run TV show. Oh, yeah. And during the pandemic, that mattered. And there were some things they did during that time that upset Fox as a TV partner, and they expected some other things, but overall, they were number one a handful of times on Friday nights.
Yeah.
So there's that. I think the bigger thing is the shuffling of wrestling overall, not just WWE. I think WWE fans, it's such an established brand. They're going to find it. I think you're going to have a lot of fans that maybe they get Netflix and do you do the churn thing where you get Netflix a little bit and you cancel it?
Yeah, I do that. If there's not interesting shows at the time, I will.
You get it for a little bit, you'll drop it, like that type of thing.
Yeah, but I'll be here to stay once Raw's over there, and I think that is a big move for Netflix. That's one of the main reasons they're going to get that wrestling demographic who's just going to stay connected to Netflix because they need their Raw.
Okay, so that's happening, by the way. I believe January 6th will be the first date. John Cena has said that quietly, they haven't really promoted it, but he said it in an interview, kind of let out, I will be on the first Raw on Netflix. I will be on that Raw. And that'll kind of get the whole farewell tour thing going with him. I suspect The Rock will have some type of involvement. I expect every big name that they can get on that show will be on that show. That show will feel like a pay-per-view. Okay.
Yes.
So that will happen. But as we saw, a lot of people say, oh, they're going to lame duck SmackDown while they're on Fox. They did not do that.
No.
That show had Roman Reigns. That show had all these different elements this past week. Yeah. Like enough Roman Reigns, on the last episode, and he's a huge name. And they did some big matches, like they treated the Fox send off like a big deal because maybe they want to do some stuff with Fox eventually in the future, right?
Yeah, I don't think the relationship's going away. They said their farewells in a nice way. Fox posted a social media thing, said, it's been a good run. They posted their farewells. They're going to be fine.
Yes. Okay. I bring that up though. The Tubi thing. So if you don't know what Tubi is and you're outside of the United States, I don't know what its plentiful distribution is outside of the United States. It is a cord-cutting streaming app ran by Fox Television. And there's a lot of ability to get it. It is like the number 5 app on the iOS, on Apple iPhone. A lot of people have it. It's just because it's free, right?
Yes.
So you don't have to pay a subscription service for it. But it's ad-supported. Much like Hulu kind of was when it came out. Hulu was like that before it went subscription based. And there's been rumblings that they were going to have MLW on there, Major League Wrestling. And there were some reports that maybe WWE wasn't too happy about. There was a lawsuit and all these different things. Just not saying that WWE squashed it, but there was a lawsuit. Now, with AEW And I can say this from being in the room with Tony Khan at the press conference, which didn't have any talent at it, by the way. So people were shocked by that.
Yeah, a little bit.
This past Saturday. People wanted to ask about the Tubi deal, but it didn't happen. There is a trademark for the term AEW Shockwave.
Shockwave.
So wrestling. So wrestling when I hear that. Shockwave. There's going to be a shockwave in professional wrestling. The AEW TV deal update is intriguing, and it kind of plays off of the WWE one because they're in that position. They're the challenger brand. If Fox said we're spending this much on, we're spending this much on SmackDown, but if we spend this much, much less than we spent for SmackDown for an AEW third tier show. Because by the way, I don't think Dynamite is going away from Warner Brothers Discovery.
No.
I don't think Collision is either. And maybe they get on streaming. That's what I hope for.
That'd be great.
But if they go to Tubi and they do another show just for Tubi, because look at WWE. They were doing stuff with Fox and NBC Universal and now Netflix.
Yeah.
And they were doing side shows and little things with other people. Quibi, whatever that was that came and went, they hit them. They got money from that, right?
Yeah.
But AEW, if they go and say, hey, do you want Ring of Honor? On Tubi and you can watch it. It's ad supported. We make some money from it. It's not a major audience, but maybe it's a good. And we pay X, Y, and Z, and we get this much back. People saying Shockwave, baby.
I like that.
And what is it? Ring of Honor?
Yeah.
It's also when talking about this. AEW is Fox Sports 1. Now, Fox Sports 1, that would be a huge deal for them.
Oh, yeah.
Fox Sports 1, I'm not saying is a massive platform. It's certainly not a big channel. But when, SmackDown would be preempted by sports on the Fox network, they would get booted to FS1, and they would get much less of an audience. You would see it in the ratings and so forth and such as. But an AEW being on there, that's a big rating for them. That's a significant rating for them. Thank you for everyone who's checking us out on Facebook, by the way. I love you guys. Share the link, turn those notifications on so when we go live here. Talking about these AEW TV deals here. The Fox Sports 1 thing would be bigger than Tubi, because Tubi's still like a relatively new app. There's a lot of people that watch it, but it doesn't have that like time spent watching type element to it.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more casual. I don't know. What do you think here?
Yeah, I think that's going to be a major move if it does in fact happen. It's a little.
Can I read this? I don't mean to cut you off. Can I read this comment?
Yeah, no, please do. Please.
This is so ridiculous. Someone's making fun of us. Two guys talking about scripted content, pretending like they're doing a debate on a sport. Yeah. Yeah, we are doing that.
And they're watching, though. They're watching. So
yeah, but we're talking about the business, baby.
That's what
we're
you do.
About the business.
Come on now.
People saying this, yeah, Tony, this would be nuts. You're watching Fox, the new home of AEW. Here's the thing. I feel confident in saying this, and this is not a shot at All Elite Wrestling. I do not think they're going to be on Fox Network television.
No, you don't think it's happening. You think that Fox Sports 1 could happen?
Possibly. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But I mean, if they get like a weekend show or they get like something on there, that'd be significant. But also, like, how much does that conflict with Warner Brothers Discovery? What position is Warner Brothers Discovery in? They lost tens of millions of billions of dollars reportedly. Wow. And they've been in this merger between Warner Brothers and Discovery. It's like, that's all stuff that affects them, guys. And you guys may look, oh, whatever. I'm just a wrestling fan. I want to know what happens. I want to say my wrestling promotion, WWE or AEW, got this. You got to pay attention to that stuff. And I think the hugest thing for me would be they go to Max. They get on streaming. They get on a proper thing. WWE is going to be on Peacock. Their pay-per-views are going to be there. Internationally, they're going to be on Netflix. I think eventually everything will get to Netflix. Like, at least that's where we're looking at it right now at this point in 2024. But I know these deals kind of get boring because so much is shuffling around. This is going there and blah, 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 blah. But it affects you. This is how you watch the shows. This is how these people make money. This is the most money-making part of professional wrestling.
Yep.
And I think it's worth talking about here. What's the biggest move here on both sides? WWE, AEW, the television move. I think it's Netflix for Raw.
Yeah, Netflix is got to be the move. And, like I said, that this is going to be bringing them in some consistent viewers who aren't going to end their subscription, who are going to keep it just because of Raw. So I
also,
think
how many
is
people
really
have Netflix that just watch Netflix? They don't watch.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's a lot of people that have Netflix and they don't watch anything else. And they just kind of trust the queue and what comes up. And now they get a live thing every week. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Netflix has not done a lot of live stuff. This is going to be live every week on Netflix.
Yeah,
and it's also across the world. Outside of the United States, this is the only way you're going to get this. The stuff that WWE's been doing internationally is only going to be more expanded. They're going to go overseas a lot more now because of this Netflix deal. Completely.
Oh yeah, I agree. This is only going to be a positive for both sides, Netflix and WWE. This is a major deal, and that's why it tops all deals of deals when we're talking about wrestling.
Deals of deals.
Deals of deals.
Deals of deals. I want to make sure I'm not missing a story. I know we had a story that was sent to us relatively recent.
Oh yeah, the Motor City.
The Motor City Machine Guns. This one is being reported by several different sources today, including Wrestle Purist, which has broken some big stories, and PW Nexus. I've heard enough of this. This has been going back and forth. This is not a confirmation, but another read up here that Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley, Chris Sabin, guys have been in the business a long time. I think, franchise X Division guys for TNA Wrestling. They did a little bit of stuff in All Elite Wrestling, but didn't lock down long-term deals.
Right.
Chris Sabin, an incredible wrestler, unfortunate injuries for him. He had some bad, poorly timed injuries. I think that really hurt his career as a single superstar. But I think Shelley and Sabin, Shelley went away. He became a nurse practitioner, like an emergency nurse.
Wow.
For a little bit outside of wrestling. You want to have a career outside of it. He did that. I mean, that's something I know, but they've come back and they're touring and they're doing some indie dates. And there's a lot of people talking about them signing with somewhere. It was at this place or that place. Some people thinking they're going to NXT. NXT, by the way, another big TV move. October 1st, they're really making something happen here, and they're going to make those first 2 TV shows be in arenas. I think they'll settle into a pattern of like a couple on the road, then they go back to Florida Performance Center.
Yeah.
And this first one, maybe we get them seeing the Motor City Machine Guns pop up. I think they change your names. I don't think they'll be called the Motor City Machine Guns.
No more Motor City
Machine Gun, bang, bang. People are not going to go. So what do you think here? This is a significant signing of a tag team by WWE that's on the market.
I like it. Just bringing more talent to NXT, making it more competitive, bringing more eyes to it. I think NXT is really growing as a brand. I mean, getting some arena shows coming up here, it's going to be big time for them, and having the Motor City Machine Guns there will be great for the audience. But I think it's well deserving. They've put in their time in the indies, TNA, and once again, the TNA NXT link there is showing, but I think it's well deserved, and congratulations to them. They could eventually maybe make their way to the main roster. There's not a lot of significant, just straight up tag teams anymore in WWE. So that would be cool to see them eventually make it there. But yeah, I think it's, well deserved. They put their time in, great talents. I'm excited to see how it works out if they do get there.
Certainly an interesting scenario. I mean, WWE has so much television. I do feel like if they came into Raw or SmackDown now, they might get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
And in how tag teams are on and off. And a lot of tag teams feel like sometimes cannon fodder specifically for the bloodline. But on, Raw, losing an hour of TV changes that. I think a lot of the tag teams will kind of like, all right, you're going to go do you're going to do these. And also WWE's not doing house shows, you know? So NXT, though, I think kind of slides into maybe that house show position of, all right, why don't we go play here? Why don't we go tape here? We go to get this here. And maybe have NXT do that so those guys get those reps. You seen the NXT talent get reps on TNA Wrestling. That was a term that was used directly from Nick Nemeth and Moose today. That's going to be an interview that's going to come out. We like these guys coming over here getting reps. It's good for them. It's good for us because we get a rub from some WWE eyeballs that haven't seen us in a while. But I look at the show that they're running. They're All-State Arena. Normally they'd run a lot of tickets for this. They're using about 2/3 of the arena. So it's scaled down. They're trying to sell to what they have. Well, it's still available. CM Punk on that show. So they're still trying to, and I think, they just added some tickets. Okay. So they just added some tickets as well. So that's coming up Chicago, October 1st. The following week, that Tuesday, I believe October 7th, they're going to be in St. Louis. And so Randy Orton's going to be on that show. So they're trying to do some stuff here with it. I do think building out the depth and giving you some more names, but also that's going to be on CW. That's an over-the-air broadcast station, but it's CW. It's not as big as Fox or anything like that. No shot at them. So I don't know. What do you think of this whole thing? I mean, it's just a shuffle of stuff. I would like to see some more significant names on NXT more regularly. I know it's a developmental show. They had the Bloodline show up this week, which is wild.
Yeah, I thought that was great. Bloodline looks strong even without Solo Sikoa. But I like how they're just bringing people up and down from the main roster to NXT, showing people, hey, we got this show over here too. And we got a lot of great talent. I like NXT. I tune in, week to week. And I like how they are bringing some big time names to the brand and letting people from around the world who, like we had a Stephanie Vaquer. She's coming over. Julia was just there. I love how they're starting them off. They have to work their ranks through NXT to get to the main roster.
But they're it reminds me of NXT from like 10 years ago, a little bit. Where they may have this next in line thing and developing college talent. And Obafemi is a great example of this. Huge, brutish guy who is taken to wrestling very, very quickly and speaks with a very deep presence in what he wants to do, and is a relatively new wrestler. He's not an independent talent, but you're bringing over names from Japan that are established wrestlers like Julia, but you're bringing in names that have been on television for 10 or 15 years, like the Motor City Machine Guns, if that is indeed the team you're going with here. You're bringing in a Stephanie Vaquer who turned down an AEW to be with you, and she's one of the biggest names in Lucha. So, I mean, reminds me of, NXT from Black and Gold, and then you're doing stuff for the Randy Orton or CM Punk for one shots and spots and stuff like that. And that significantly put NXT back in the mix. You had, Becky Lynch go there and win a title.
Oh, yeah.
You want to do something crazy? Charlotte Flair shows up there.
Ooh, that'd be awesome.
And she's won that title before, but I mean, like, all right, hey, I'm going to go this path. I'm going to take this path back to WWE.
Are you going to be at that Chicago show?
I'm trying to.
Yeah.
I think I'm waiting to see some things kind of come together here. I was hoping maybe we can get some cool content out of that. I was at AEW All Out. What did you think of AEW All Out? What did you think of the show? I was there. It was a fun one. We did the press conference afterwards. It was an interesting show, to say the least. It was very violent.
Yes.
Blood and multiple matches. This is the most violent, like mainstream, like top 2 or 3 wrestling shows I've ever been to. I know TNA had some of those lockdown shows that were pretty brutal, in the cages and stuff like that. But in terms of like the most use of hardcore wrestling I've seen by a major television company in a significant period of time, main event, you have people getting power bombed on cinder blocks.
Yeah.
You had a hypodermic needle in someone's cheek.
Yeah.
You had a post-match scenario where Jon Moxley choked out Bryan Danielson with a plastic bag. I did one for Sportskeeda Wrestling's Snapchat today, and they were kind of like in the script, and I added my own take to it about how was this too far? But I'm like, did you guys like stop watching wrestling suddenly and then restart watching it? And then this is too far for you?
Right.
WWE threw a guy off a cage in 1998. It was like 25 feet in the air. They did a match where they did a match with Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio where a guy's eyeball was supposed to come out. I mean, like, that was like 4 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was too far. Especially, AEW likes to show blood. We all know that. And we've seen the Darby Allin matches. They get insane. So,
Is it too much? Like, is it too much for them as a show? Is it played out? I would say, me watching the show live, I had a really, really good time.
Yeah.
But by the end of the show, I forgot that Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale bashed light tubes over each other's head because there were so many other things that happened in the show that were in that same like tone, if you will. Right. You know what I mean? It'd be like if you went to a music festival and there was bands or heavy bands or reggae bands, but they kind of all, for lack of a better phrase, it bleeds together, Yeah. And it's like, so is that something? I think that's a fair thing to say, but this is also AEW. You have to pivot. You have to feel like you're prominent. You're going to challenge WWE, but we're not going to be them. How do we stand out and be different?
I agree with you 100% there. So maybe it is a little bit too much because you want to create moments, and if you have too many of the same,
there was plenty of moments on the show.
There were moments, but like you said, when you're putting too much color in each match, or you forgot that they were bashing light bulbs over each other because there was some more outlandish stuff going on. You know, maybe you don't do it as much with other matches just so other ones are more memorable.
There was discussions of names showing up on the show that didn't show up on the show, but we had some rumors and news and reports in the last 24 hours. Once again, a tip of the cap to Fightful Select reporting that Hurt Syndicate LLC, the kind of legal group that has been put together by one MVP and Bobby Lashley, who is no longer with WWE, have had a discussion with All Elite Wrestling, and it feels like when, not if. Now, if you're in AEW and you're in the middle of the card, here's another guy from WWE coming in that boots you out. Ricochet just came over. They treat him like a big deal. He just got his first big TV win on and I think that's the right way to go. WWE is going to get Ray Phoenix from AEW. So there's some flippy floppy of different names. This is the fun part of wrestling for me, talking to people that are talent in the companies. And I've talked to some in the last month or so. They kind of alluded to the idea of some people that are like similar slots on each show or similar type of tones would kind of go, you know, back and forth. And I think it's good for the business.
Yeah.
You know, it's good for the talent, good for the business. And WWE's signed a lot of people to, even some smaller guys in the card, like Natalia. She returned, signed a long-term deal. A lot of people thought she would leap. She didn't. Cedric Alexander, guy that people thought would leap, low card guy, but a really, really talented guy, former cruiserweight champion that he would going to stay with the company. So there's some interesting things that WWE's done there. But then you have Bobby Lashley, a guy, big name guy, still has some great years left in the ring. He decided, no, I'm going to go. I'm going to go to do some other things. So it's good for the business. Now, of those names that people thought were possibly coming over, a significant name that people were talking about is a member of the McMahon family. The amount of people that had some rumors said to them on was it Saturday? It was Saturday. That were just saying, oh, he's gonna show up, Shane McMahon's gonna come out and he's gonna be with this group that Jon Moxley put together. A lot of people speculating. Fan speculation, no real hard reports there. Would Shane McMahon come into the company as an on-screen character? I don't know. I think he'd be more significant as a business figure in the company, at least.
Yeah.
What do you think here? Are there more names that are kind of out of the mix with WWE that could be coming over to AEW?
I mean, it just seems like every big name that decides they don't want to be in WWE anymore goes to AEW. And I know that they're big time players, but what does this mean to the mid-card guys in AEW? You know, they probably got to be always watching their back and seeing who's getting released from WWE and getting a little worried about that because it seems
I mean, if you're a tag team, what does it mean when Motor City Machine Guns comes over?
Very true. Very true. So, I mean, it's
in
both ways.
What does it mean if you're, you know, if WWE is indeed going to get the Lucha Brothers and Pentagon Jr. and you're going to get Ray Phoenix over there? What does that mean for a Dragon Lee? You know, LWO has that kind of ran its course. All right, new luchas come over. WWE doesn't want to have a ton of luchadors.
That's right. You're correct about that. So it does work.
Rey Mysterio is always going to be Rey Mysterio, so he's going to keep the mask. You know, as long as he's there. What are you going to? All right. So what is a Ray Phoenix to a Dragon Lee? What is that? You always mixture. I think you got to separate the Latin American talent away from each other. They can always just the last year and a half they've just been tied so much to each other. It hasn't propelled them farther than where they are.
I agree.
No shot. Just it is what it is. But I mean, like if they come in, all right. So what am I there? You know, you have the human Spider-Man that is Ricochet. He comes over to AEW. There's a lot of other guys that can do a lot of the things he can do there. But you know, fun combinations. That Ricochet Ospreay match is going to happen, and it's going to be cool. You know, and you're going to see it, and it's going to deliver. And I'll give it to AEW. They delivered on AEW All Out. If you paid $50 for that show, I think it was a very, very good show. And they needed it. They needed a really, really good pay-per-view. I thought the All-In card was strong with a great, really satisfying ending. This was more like Empire Strikes Back. The bad guys got a lot of big wins on this show. So good stuff. Thumbs up show. I thought it was like a really solid 8.5 out of 10. One of the I kind of, even though it had a sad ending overall, I thought the storyline stuff on All Out was better than All In. Okay. But I loved Brian. I thought Bryan Danielson winning the world title was like one of the best moments of the year, and it was so satisfying. So I'm talking my head off. I'm talking you over here. Other big things. Do we have any other big news? I don't want to sign off. We've had this happen too much where you and I sign off and some huge story happens. We can't
Every
say
time.
this story, this is happening. I don't like talking about the real life stuff. And then the real life stuff happens, and then you got to talk about it. Okay.
I know what you mean.
I had this happen at Rock Radio this week with Dave Grohl, and I didn't want to talk about it, but you have to reference it to some degree. Nikki Bella was in a legal situation with her husband, former WWE superstar, and that was a domestic issue. Okay, it was well reported by TMZ. The TMZ following up report that Bella has filed for divorce from her husband after that domestic issue. And is searching for a divorce attorney. So I know we can get into the weeds with gossip and stuff like that, but rooting for the best for everybody involved there.
Yeah. Hope everything turns out all right there.
Yeah, I don't what I know about somebody's personal life.
Right.
I know fans will bring that. I bring that up because I know some fan will ask me, like, how come you didn't talk about it? What am I going to say about it? I'm not crapping on it, but what am I going to say about it? So if you enjoy the show, why don't you hit the like button? Did you like the new setup I have here in the studio? Did you like the new time that we're on air? I would love to hear from you here. People saying Cena treated her better. Oh, come on, dude. Like, I don't like talking about people's personal lives.
Yep.
It's not fair. We don't know them like that. They're popular figures. You don't know them personally. If you're just joining the show late, we did talk about the PWI 500. Who was number one? Cody Rhodes. The big changes to NXT. The big changes to Monday Night Raw. The big changes to SmackDown. What's going on with AEW and Tubi? So let me know what you think. If you enjoy this new setup, let me know. What are you going on with? What do you got going on, Nick? I know you dropped some new videos with Sportskeeda.
Yeah, I've done some VOs, done a lot of shorts, done some longer form stuff as well. So you can go over to the channel, the YouTube channel, and find out what I've been talking about, what Kevin's been talking about, what Sportskeeda Wrestling's been talking about in general. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this weekend I'll actually be flying to Detroit.
Woo!
Yeah, I'm gonna be at the Lions game, but I'll be working for Fox as a runner. I got a nice little opportunity. I'm gonna be doing a lot of
WWE and they pick up a Nick. All right, here we go.
But yeah, so that's the big contract.
You work in the NFL on Fox game?
Yes. So I'll be there. Got to be there at 6 a.m. Going to be there till the end of the game, about 5.
Oh no!
Yeah, it'll be a long day, but going to be a good experience. And,
you're a Lions fan. Yeah. You work in sports media, and you're gonna get. Oh no! You're gonna be there at 6 a.m. Oh no!
It'll be fun. It'll be
happy for you, buddy. You absolutely deserve that, man. It's awesome.
Thank you. What are you up to, Kevin?
You can hear me on Q101. I'm in the studios of Q101 right now. Thank you for them for being so accommodating. They helped us do an interview last week that I did with Orange Cassidy. That's on Q101's YouTube channel. Now, I know he's already wrestled matches and it was all before All Out, but go watch it. He had a lot of interesting stories to tell about his time in All Elite Wrestling. That is up right now. Some other things with Q101 I can mention. Linkin Park's back together. That was wild. That was a big thing. We have first listen content, everything about the new Linkin Park lineup and what's going on with them and the new music. Q101's YouTube. You're on YouTube. Go watch it on YouTube. So go check that stuff out. Also, Q101.com. You can stream us anywhere in the world. You like alternative rock. You like Green Day. You like Linkin Park. You like Foo Fighters. You like The Killers. That's your radio station. Put us on. We're on the iHearts. We're on all of them. Okay. I'm going to be on weeknights every night next week.
Nice.
And I'm going to be at Riot Fest, the biggest music festival in all of rock music. So I'm going to have that next week. I am going to the room right over here. You guys can't see. We're going to have Newfound Glory in there performing a set next Thursday. So you and I may have to move the show.
Yeah, Thursday. Hey, we can do it.
Oh, man, it's crazy. Next Friday, I'm going to be on the radio in Chicago, Rockford, Minneapolis, and with all of you. Ooh. So it's going to be a whole fun time. Follow me on the different things. Follow Q101. Thank you to them for letting me use the studio today. I really, really appreciate it. We'll be doing Thursdays, and check out everything Sportskeeda. Really, really appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Like the video if you haven't liked it already. We're trying to make Rings and Rambles rambly for all of you. So ramble it up and let us know a comment. I don't want to leave any comments hanging here. I know we have a couple here at the end. I always love to take care of the people that are with us here. I'm scrolling to the bottom, making sure we got them all here at the end here. Did I miss anything? Hello. There we go. Here we go. I was expecting this. Wow. When the words Roman Reigns, it gets me nuts. People still upset that Roman was not number one on the list. He wrestled like 8 times, guys. That's the reason why he's not number one. He wrestled this time. Do you think John Cena could retire with $100 million? He's going to retire with a lot more than $100 million. I'll tell you that.
He's got his.
You know those t-shirts? Have you seen those farewell tour t-shirts?
Yes. Yeah.
That, like, say the dates of the tour.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean,
so but then right?
That is, I mean, that's another thing.
But I'm okay. But do you think that's too predictable?
I don't know. I think that there's still going to be some surprises there.
Yeah.
I don't think those dates are set.
Yeah.
So
also, if you're going to see NXT live, I think he will do an NXT before that.
I would love that. Yeah.
Here we go. Thank you so much, Chris. Hey guys, huge fan of the show. Thank you so much, man. Thank you. Seriously.
Thank you,
Christopher. I know there's a lot of people that watch us and don't comment, and it's completely cool if you watch us and don't comment. You listen to us and don't comment. There's things online where I'm finding myself not commenting, but I really appreciate it. And your comments legitimately help. Even if it's just like hearts, or like or an emoji, that stuff, like in internet speak, still like means something. So even if you don't want to just jump into the conversation, you just want us on in the background passively, love you. You're spending time with us, and time matters. So I appreciate that. He goes, can you guys see Cena dethrone Gunter for the World Championship? I was going to sign off. I know I was doing the closing plugs thing, but can we get into John Cena final year predictions? I know we'll do this again before the end of the year. They got to make this. You can only do this farewell tour once, right?
Yeah.
And the way they're selling it's like, this is only going to be a one-time thing. We're not going to play this out. This is it. When I'm done, I'm done. So it'll be his last WrestleMania, but it'll go calendar year to calendar year. This isn't like he's going to come in December and he's done at WrestleMania. He's going to go December to the end of the year.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it'll be, I like that. In December, he gets to have a send-off thing, and that separates it from WrestleMania too. Yeah. I do think he can beat Gunther, and I do think that's something that they're going to build to. I would say if you want to talk about a WrestleMania match you can get to right now, Gunther's keeping that title well into WrestleMania season.
Oh, yeah. Cena Gunther?
Yeah.
You think
seems like, I mean, them chopping the hell out of each other. Gunther is the antithetical villain. The way he speaks, the way he carries himself. Oh, the Goldberg line this week with Bret Hart in the ring.
Man, that
was great. You know, and he's a guy who, here's how you know when you're over in WWE. People care about you and you're not having matches on TV.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not a bad thing. When you can still just be there, do an angle, cut a promo, and it's still meaningful, that means a whole lot. People saying, I just wish I caught it from the beginning. You can watch us online on demand. If you're just watching on demand, someone's Avnell is watching here on Facebook. You can watch it from the beginning, like especially on Facebook. If you want to pull back and just have us up on Facebook too, by the way, whole show's up there. People saying LWO deserves a push. They gotta be in the mix here. People saying Finn Balor and Liv Morgan are going to burn or turn on Dominic and recruit Braun. Don't see it. That's just wild, weird fantasy booking. Byron Cutler says, I gave AEW a 10 out of 10 last night. He liked Dynamite that much. Love all your comments. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know who your number one wrestler is. I want to know who your number one wrestler is. If you're watching on demand, who's your number one? Give me your top 5 wrestlers. How about that? I would love your top 5. Give me your top 5 wrestlers. How about that? Challenging you guys in the comments. If you've been watching this long, you guys can absolutely still be a part of our show. Appreciate your time. Love you guys. Hope you're doing well. Follow Sportskeeda on all the things you follow stuff on. And turn us on here. We have a whole bunch of new content dropping. I'm doing I'm waiting for the script on this, that I'm told will be well over 30 pages. Which you and I know when we get pages, that's like the length of a voiceover on John Cena's career. We're doing a massive John Cena career retrospective. So thank you guys for the time. Appreciate it. That's coming. Whole bunch of videos coming. We're doing videos responding to your comments. Those are coming. So love you guys. Remember, when watching wrestling, please do the most important thing, which is what, Nick? As I talk over you so much for 54 minutes. I'm so sorry.
Good, man. You need to.
These mics give me so much power.
You sound powerful.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, everybody, enjoy wrestling.
Yeah. Do that.